This is Gary Grigsby's War in the East 2, turn 3 of my latest campaign. We are in August 2022 when recording this, so we're running a new patch. And at the start of turn 3, I have made some pitiful attempts at organizing some sort of air defense for the Republic of the Soviet workers here. I am by far not a very proficient player of the new air system. I did not play War in the West a lot, so I feel quite overwhelmed. There's certain things I can do, but I'm sure I'm missing out on a lot of stuff like air directives, their finer details. But I was thinking I'd just go through what I've done, and hopefully in the future, as people watch this, if they do know the air system, they could put out comments on Twitch or YouTube, and I would be very appreciative for any feedback and help to improve my gameplay when it comes to the airplay here. So overall, there's a couple of ways I figured that you can check out how many planes you now have on the map. I had barely no planes. I just tried to pull them into the reserve off map, but now, according to Stavka, I can see that I have 2,441 airplanes on the map. That's not gonna match Luftwaffe at all, but I figure my strategy here is to use what airplanes I've got left. They are older machines, obsolete machines, and I don't quite understand how the pilot and trained pilots and experience of pilots works. Maybe I'm doing a mistake by wasting good pilots at this stage of the war, but I have an impression that wasting the older airframes, the airplanes themselves, doesn't really matter now, unless I need to use them for training in the reserve or something. So I am going to deploy airplanes. Obviously, I already done it. And I also understand it as if you place planes on the map, they are going to partake in defensive combat missions. When the Germans attack my units, my airplanes will take off and help defend. So basically, without doing anything, just placing them on the map, I get some defensive combat abilities. So I don't know if the AI uses a lot of strategic bombing, but I placed a couple of MiG-3s up here around Leningrad on day and night mission, apparently in a guard formation. This doesn't do anything, if I'm correct. Red just means it's a fancy guard 8 EID formation, but it doesn't matter in the game. So that's only for defending Leningrad's industries. Then we have 2nd BAD here, and they have a bunch of SB2 bombers on day only. And they definitely have range all the way down here to the Pskov area. So they're from the Leningrad Air Command, which I think has a rather... I should put these on day only, but it won't change over. I don't understand why. I put them on retreat, since I am retreating from Pskov, and I don't want them to be overrun. Not even super certain what that does that. It's in the manual, I read it, but I've forgotten it. In Novgorod, we placed a couple of Yak-1 fighters. They have range exactly to outside Pskov here, so I'm hoping they'll be able to cover us. Then 39 EID has a bunch of I-16s. I am going to use these I-16s. Basically, I guess sacrificing them, but on this air base... Could I easily tell how many they are? It's 70% full airbase. Oh yeah, 254 of them. So that's quite a lot. And where's... Oh yeah, if I check the air... Where is the air headquarters? Is that off map now? I think the Leningrad Air Command leader is rather decent, like skill 5. So, in a way, first off, Leningrad is maybe my main priority for defending, since in my first campaign, I lost it to the AI on high difficulty level. He just walked straight in there. So that's one reason I want to beef up with 440 fighters and 135 bombers. But anyway, let's see how it goes. We'll try to remember these poor I-16 planes here in Salt Sea and see how they fare against what I hope are fairly distant Luftwaffe air bases. Now, that's one of my reasonings for deploying air now, that I am close to the front, and Germany and the Wehrmacht and their air bases Luftwaffe have been advancing for 3 weeks straight. So maybe now is a good time to kind of defend a little bit with air. I'm planning to retreat with them. Alright, Veliki Luki apparently got a bunch of I-16s as well. Actually, I'm overstacked here, which is not good. Maybe I should do something about that. I think this was one of the first air units, and I even forgotten that 133% here says that I'm overstacked quite severely. So let's see if I can take one of these guys and maybe I could how about this one? This is 90%. So let's do this. This is how bad I am. If I wanted to move over this EIP, no, that would be all of them. I just want to move. Right. Okay, it's full. It has 5 air units. Okay, I'm aware that I'm overstacked, and I'll do that off camera if I remember after this. Then in Smolensk, apparently we have a bunch of airplanes here. So that would be 104 I-16 Type 24 and 44 of the older Type 18 model, as you can see here. So short range, they seem to be out of ammo and supplies, but they're not overstacked on 90%. I don't quite understand. You can bring resupply airbase. Okay, if you right click the air unit or AOG, you can resupply the airbase. So that didn't change it. So I guess that's an order to resupply the airbase because ammo is very low at 51% during the turn. Nothing apparently happens immediately, which makes sense how the game works. But also I think if you click go into the Smolensk airbase, you can either, well, I'm not going to expand it. Unit detail, you can go into supply details here and you can see what's up with it. But even if I don't press resupply airbase, I think the game automatically will send supplies there during the turn. So I'm not quite certain, and I'm not going to check the manual right now, what resupply airbase command does here. I will check the manual eventually, but I've done that, and hopefully these guys will have a bit more supply flying out of Smolensk. Now around Moscow, I now have a couple of MiG-3s here in Rzhev. We have a couple of lags. Honestly, they were here before. They have range right up until Smolensk. It's a lucky coincidence. So I'm keeping these lag 3s back here to cover Smolensk, I suppose. Then we have a couple of long-range fighters, MiG-3s and SB-2s, bombers here in Vyazma. We have in Kaluga, we have a couple of SB-2 bombers. Western Command, here's a weird thing. I was totally overstacked in Bryansk. I ordered them to rebase immediately. I can show you, transfer for immediate transfer. Yeah, and there's an order to do it, but it doesn't happen immediately. It's supposed to. Maybe these guys have some sort of, maybe they retreated or something last turn. I don't think so. Maybe because I placed them in Bryansk and I accidentally overstacked them, now they can't immediately transfer. That's probably what happened. But I think they should place themselves in Tula and Oral a bit further back and don't be overstacked. I mean, I shouldn't keep bombers in Bryansk, which is my front town. I should have fighters there, right? So I'm practicing, trying to get better at handling my air units, because that is something I am manually, of course. It's the air directives I don't understand anything about, and the different orders, but actually moving air units, AOGs and around works a bit for me. Here I have more long-range bombers in Orel already. Okay, Orel Air Command supporting this little army here, the 21st Army. So we have a couple of... Oh, okay. Apparently I have some short-range fighters around Konotop here, which won't be able to... But I am retreating behind the Desna River here, so I guess these guys will be in range sooner or later. And they also have some bombers in Kursk. Actually, they have PE2 modern bombers, so they're a little bit better than the SB2 bombers. That's it. 31 fighters and 57 bombers. That's not very impressive, but it's better than nothing. Then I decided to put a couple of MiG-3 long-range fighters into Kharkov and Voronezh to defend industry. A human player could, at least in World War in the East 1, the first version, you could do strategic bombings of because you evacuated industries manually back in that game. So maybe you wanted to bomb the T-34 factories in Kharkov or something early. So I think it might be a good idea to place long-range fighters back here covering the industrial centers. No idea if the AI is going to strategically bomb me ever, but if he does, this is good practice for me to keep him here. Southwestern Air Command, we have 240 fighters. I guess most of them are around Kiev. Yep, and they're I-16, so older versions. We also have a couple of lags in Poltava that covers like the rest of the front. I don't know why they're complaining. Are they overstacked? No, but this airbase doesn't have supplies, I suppose, because it's orange. So we could... I think I have pressed resupply airbase here as well. And they will not be needed this turn, so I'm just gonna set them up and see how next turn, how their supply, if it's getting any better. We then have... Didn't I place an air unit? Oh, wait. In Stalino? No, I guess I didn't. Okay. Well, I placed a couple of lags in Genishevsk harbor here to cover kind of the first, second and third entrance to the Kerch. So Genishevsk is a support that I will try to fortify and hold because it covers this eastern entranceway into the Kerch. So I might as well have a couple of medium. Okay, they're long range. At this stage of the war, the Lag 3s are long range. It's a modern airframe, Lag 3, and they're covering all the way up here to this town. So also I put some long-range MiGs into Sevastopol. I guess what I'm trying to do with them is just defend the sea, the naval air, and I guess the entranceway up here as well. So we have a few, and I gave the Black Sea Fleet Air Command, whose leader I think is horrible. So I should put them all in Southern Air Command and then maybe replace that air leaders and have them all under a good leader. I don't quite see why you... I think there's no limit to, like, you could have one single air command commanding every air unit on the map, the best. I don't think there's a limit to the amount of air units a leader can command, which is kind of a weird system. I might be mistaken about this, but for now, cosmetics, role-playing, I don't think these guys will be in combat anytime soon, so we're using Black Sea Fleet Air Command for now. It looks good. And Southern Air Command, yeah, all they got is a couple of I-16s in defending Odessa. I have removed all my strategic long-range bombers. Long-range Air Command is now only defending... And that's it. I have not any bombers in Gorky, maybe, or MiGs. If I do have any more MiGs, let's put them in Stalino here. So this is how you do it. I'll do an example. If you're new to the game, if you never played this game, this is how wonky this is. So you go into this airbase, which is this little symbol with the crossed lines here in Stalino, and you right click and you bring something called an AOG from the reserve. AOG means group something, and since we are defending behind the line, EIDs are fighter units only. So I guess I'll pick the highest number EID I got, 73. And then it will automatically allow me to place fighters and fighter bombers in here. I'm not going to use fighter bombers, we're going to go with fighters. And right now, it's only the MiG-3s that are fighters. And I guess the I-153. I don't quite know the difference. I think fighter bombers can bomb. You can have them trained as fighter bombers and bomb. Fighters can only fight in the air. Excuse me. And okay, so we're gonna use this MiG-3 unit. It has 65 experience, 56 morale, which is okay. There's 49 of them, and the air unit size will decrease later in the war. This early, you have huge air units. It will go down to 20 maximum. Now you can find up to 64 or something. So it's gonna be this air group, 49 of them, and you press transfer, and this Transcaucasus Air Command fills up. It kind of automatically wanted me to go with North Caucasus HQ here. I think though that I'm going to, since this is like a strategic fighter defense, I think I'm gonna reassign this AOG to the Long Range Air Command, which is usually the strategic bombers. But hey, don't think it matters. You can obviously assign fighters as well to the Long Range Air Command and call them like, yeah, that's the Long Range Air Defense, Pink HQ. Where are they on the map? I think their HQ is, I don't know where their HQ is. Maybe it's not even on the map. Also realize if you press A, you can turn off these air groups or this button up here. Oh, here it is. Long Range Air Command. Gorbachevich Leonid. He is a terrible leader. He's Air 4. He's Morale 4. He's a really bad leader. I might have been better off using the... I could use my action points to replace air leaders, but I'm not gonna do this turn. I think I have more pressing matters to do with my action points. Or political points, whatever they're called. So pressing. So that's how you do it. And now we have 49 MiG-3s ready to fight over Dnipropetrovsk, over Stalino, over Rostov, over Voroshilgrad. So any long-range strategic bombing attempts by the Luftwaffe will be punished quite harshly. I hope, even though the leader of these pink long-range air command is bad. We could do a quick admin screens. Could you go with leaders and go with not army but air HQs? Oh. Wait, what? Oh. Here are my leaders. And air is the only. So Leningrad has a Novikov, he's the best. He has 6 air. So Leningrad has a really good leader. Kharkov has a good leader with 5. Very good. Goryonov. And then the rest has 4. And there's just a few of them. Western, Southwestern, Black Sea, and Far East have 3. And of this, the most important is Western Air Command. So maybe I should, sooner rather than later, exchange the Western Air Command leader from a 3 to maybe, I think I now have another 6 or 5 skill level leader. And to do that, you would, Kopets, yeah, I don't like you, you're really bad. So yeah, we'll go here. It's only 2 admin points. And if I were to do it, I could place Falalayev, Fyodor. here. That would only cost 4 points. That might be something I want to do. So obviously you want your best leaders on the most important air HQs. For example, if I want to use a lot of air on Western, I should definitely upgrade that leader's skill. It was only 4 points, so I might do that. Okay, so wish me good luck in the air combat. Nothing's gonna happen during my air execution phase, because I haven't given any orders at all. But they will help me in the German turn if they are within range, and if the Germans attack me, the leaders will roll for sending out his defensive forces and helping in ground combat. And that's basically what I want. Alright, that's the air phase of turn 3. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, yada yada, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.